Hello and welcome to this week's Creativity TV. On today's show we are joined by Jo Austin, who has got something extra special to show us with my favourite Chronology range of all time so far. So what's this that you're going to be showing us?
Oh, I've done a couple of different little bits, but I'm actually going to be showing you how to create this clock out of a piece of canvas boarding that I've taken. It's got some jewels on the bottom, a little bit of chain just to add that little accent, or you could just leave it as it is, make it small or larger, it's entirely up to you. So I'm going to be basically showing you how I've created the background on here, and how to actually put the clock mechanism.
It's so nice to see.
Which is actually a proper clock.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. So we'll make a start with the canvas. So this is just a canvas board that you can pick up as well. All I'm going to do is just take some masking tape. Now usually when you use masking tape you pop it onto your clothes to get some of that tack off. Because we're using canvas board, we don't actually need to, so we can just basically create a little white border all the way around the outside. Okay, so we've got this masking tape around there. Now all we need to do is do our paint effect. The first thing I do before I choose any paint is just take a look at the papers, see which colours that I actually want to use. So on the original sample I used browns and blacks and a little bit of green. With this one I'm going to go for this nice bright green and a little bit of blue, just to make it look a little bit more summery. Okay. So it's a little bit sort of fresher looking, so it's not quite so steampunky. So I've taken some of the artiste paints that are going to go in with the papers. I've taken the azure blue, and I've taken the spring green. And I'm going to put a little bit of orange in it as well, just to brighten it up, and this one's the pumpkin. Okay, so lack of brush, this is going to get a little bit messy and do a few different techniques. So the first colour that I'm going to lay down is a little bit of green. So I'm just going to basically shake the bottle, and then I'm going to use the paint that I've got in the cap. Just take it on your fingers, and we're just going to smear it on. Now there's two reasons why I do this. One is I can actually cover and get the different textures coming through, and it will cover an awful lot quicker than what it will if you're using a brush. And you know you're going to get a slightly different technique.
See, you're good. This is far too messy for me.
So there's our first layer. I'm not too worried about the centre panel because we're going to put paper onto there as well. Right. So we're going to do exactly the same thing with the blue. Just take a little bit of blue, and this time we're going to go the opposite way. So where we went down, this time we're going to go across. Right. So a little bit of blue on there, and just rub it in. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing, just a little tiny fleck of orange, just to brighten it up and lift it.
I don't think the Chronology range, using it, would be the same if you didn't use a bit of orange. I think it's quite... you've
got to have the orange in there. But the orange, the blue, and obviously I've got it on my fingers, so it's all going to mix in together. But you can make it as bright or as not as you want. But same as you say, it just adds to that rusty look. And you can use browns and greens, a little bit of black. But again, for this one, I'm going to keep it sort of quite fresh looking, I think. Yeah. There we go. Give it a little rub over. That's perfectly dry. Brilliant. Okay, so now we're ready for the paper. Okay. So I'm going to take this little font one here. And I just need to roughly guess how much I need. So again, just going to rip that. And again, this is another thing that I found with the Chronology, is if I use scissors, it looked a little bit too formal. It didn't sort of quite go. So again, I'm just going to take that just there. So it's just roughly around about the same size as the canvas piece that I've got just there. And then again, just a layer of blue. So I'm going to take that little strip just there. There we go. And all we need to do now is get a little bit of glue in your brush. And I'm just going to stick that on. Okay, so this is your tacky glue. Perfect for everything. There we go. Now you can leave it like that if you want to, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of the orange paint and a little bit of the green, and I'm going to blend those white areas in. Now I'm putting the paint over the white, so it's going to pick up the paint colour. Right, okay. So it's just going to colour it a tiny little bit. So again, back in with your fingers. Yeah. You can see there, you can just rub it into the papers, so it's like a little bit of a distressed effect on there. Yeah. But it's just hiding those edges a little bit more. Okay. Now at that point, I'm sort of more or less finished, I think, with the base section of that. So the clock itself, it is a working clock.
Yeah.
And what I've done is I've taken a clock that I've got at home that's it looks a little bit past its sell-by date at the moment, and I just want this mechanism off the back. Okay, so what I'm going to do is
you've pulled yours apart?
I've just pulled it apart.
Wow.
So all we need to do is take the top section and just keep everything to one side. There we go. And then you're left with this little mechanism which is holding this in place.
Yeah.
So you just take your pliers and basically unscrew this. And then the back section will just unstick.
Oh, right, okay.
So you've got your complete little clock mechanism there, which will be a fraction of the cost if you got it from a charity shop. So again, we're recycling, bringing back that element of recycling in there. Okay, so you do need to be really careful doing this technique, but basically what I'm going to do is just decide where I want this clock section to be. So I'm just going to mark the inside of here. And what I'm going to do is go straight in with my craft knife, and I'm holding it up the top part of my craft knife. Keep your fingers well away. Fingers well away, and just basically just work it in. So there's my little hole. All I need to do now is to make sure that this little section is going to fit in, which it is.
Yeah, perfect.
Before I do anything else, what I actually want to do is to take the 12 by 12 chronology paper, and you see this fantastic big clock that we've got here. Now what I'm going to do is tear this out, and this is actually going to create the little hand sections and the time sections for my clock. Just for quickness, I am just going to use a tape roller. Obviously you can glue this and then put a layer of glue over the top just to make sure that it's going where it needs to go. The centre of it is going to go just into there. That's going to rip off just there. Okay. And then all we need to do is just to make a little hole in the centre of your clock. Okay, and now it's time to put your clock piece back together. Okay, so there's your little clock section finished there. Fantastic. And then all I've done is I've just taken my die cut, I've taken the circle dies, and that's going to sit just there. And then just to tie it all in together, I've got some little gems.
Oh, I see what you've done there, okay.
Yeah, and then at your 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6, 12, you can just put your little accent gems on there. I've actually used the glitter ones on there and coloured them in brown just to give them an extra little bit of bling. Yeah. Okay, so clock's now finished. It's all in place.
Fantastic.
All we need to do now is just take off your masking tape. There we go, and that's just going to reveal that nice white edge there.
Fantastic, look at that. And then you can simply just add these.
Just add your chain. So again, in the same way that we made the hole in here, unless you've got a crocodile or something like that, just make a little hole and then space out at the top, and then just add your little chain links and your little charms. And obviously in the chronology range we've got keys and things like that, so you can put extra 3D items on there as well.
Fantastic, thank you very much. That was wonderful. I'd like you to have a go at making this. It'd be wonderful to see your version of it. Do drop me an email with a photograph, because I'd love to see what you've done at tv@docrafts.com. For now, and it's been great, thank you for joining us. Happy crafting.